Now, what were some of those difficulties in the healing? Because, you know, for it to take that long, that's usually, that's not a good thing.
Well, when he went back to work, his leg was doing pretty well. But he was climbing stairs, and he didn't have time to elevate his leg. So he went for an x-ray, and the doctor said that the bone was not healing. And he didn't know why, but it was kind of fragmented and frayed. And my husband saw the bone on the x-ray, and he was hysterical. So the doctor said, well, maybe you'll have to have a bone graft, but it's only effective 40% of the time, right? So my husband...
Well, 40% of the time it works every time.
Yes, every time.
That's what I hear.
But my husband believed he would be in the 60th percentile, and so he didn't know what to do. So I knew that there was a great chance of him getting an infection in his bone from the compound fracture, and that he could lose his leg. So I decided to set up a program for him to help him use his mind power to heal.
Now, what was your prescription? Because, of course, you know, you're coming at it from a different point of view here, Dr. Christine.
That's right.
So how did you, you know, what was your prescription for him to heal?
Well, I knew that he had to calm down. Remember, tension delays healing.
Right.
And I felt this cold air coming from his leg when I was standing near him. So I knew I had to warm the leg up. And I made him another audio tape, and he was in a carpool and he couldn't drive. So I instructed him to listen to this audio tape back and forth on the way to work. And so he did that. And I also talked to the doctor and asked if he would order a, because he had this metal rod on the outside of his leg. It was an external fixation device extending from below his knee to his ankle.
Almost like a brace.
Yes, but it's on the outside to set the bone and keep it in place. And so I asked the doctor to order electrical stimulation on the outside of his leg, so we could work on the inside and the outside with imagery and also with this stimulation. So that was the mind-body connection.
Now, what was the imagery that you used for your husband?
Well, I took him on a little ride in his mind to a Caribbean cove, and the water was clear blue. And he was in a rowboat, just sitting back and relaxing and rowing out to the middle of the cove. And he applied some sunblock because sunburn was a concern for him, right? And then... Even in his mind, he didn't want to get a sunburn. That's right, that's right. And so I brought him into a cave, a small cave. And there, he was able to imagine himself in the cave, right? So I'm going to show you.
She's got more things. Were there birds in the cave?
No, there weren't.
No birds, okay.
No, not even bats, I don't think.
Not even bats.
So this is the kind of imagery that I used. So and I have this little hat here. I'll show you in a minute. So he goes into this cave, and he's an engineer, right? And he sees these cracks on the wall. And so his first thought was, I have to fill in these cracks. So now I'm talking to him about what he can do. And in his mind, he had the spackle knife, right? And the spackle. And so I'm instructing him in his mind to start filling in the cracks inside the bone, which became the bone with hypnotic dissociation. So he's filling in the cracks in the cave and inside his bone very meticulously. And then I had him.
Did he have the hat on?
Yes, he had the hat on because he's shining the light on.
Gotta have the hat on.
He has to have the hat on. And then I instructed him to apply these solutions. Here's the healing garden solution. This is an anesthetic. This is a cleanser. This is from the pinyon tree. This is an antiseptic. And also, this is beeswax to protect the bone like new skin. And he has this little heart-shaped container with little screwdrivers as well. So this is all in his imagination. And he's applying it until all the cracks are filled in. So I brought some of the spackle knife, right? And
Did you make him wear that hat?
No, it was all imagination.
Because that would be pretty awesome.
But I do show things like this to my client before I bring them into the imagery. So here's the little screwdrivers and the paintbrush, right? And also the healing, the beeswax.
The beeswax, right, that you talked about.
And the pinion. So you can imagine that you're applying this, and then he used the light on the hat to set the spackle and also the solutions.
Right. And again, this is all in his own mind.
In his own mind.
Right.
And then, before he exits, I give him positive suggestions, right? Healing suggestions, and telling him that his leg is healed. It's healing and it's healed.
Right.
And that when he recovers, it'll be better than ever.
Right.
It'll be like better than new, right?
Okay. So now what were the results of the imagery and, of course, the hypnosis?
Well, he went to the physician, the doctor, the orthopedist, 3 weeks later, and he had an x-ray. And the doctor looked at the x-ray and he said, "What have you been doing?" The bone was healing perfectly from the inside out.
Wow.
And my husband told him, "Well, my wife made him this recording and I'm using self-hypnosis." And the doctor said, "I've heard of things like that, healing." And so he was so happy to have participated in the healing of his bone. He didn't need a bone graft, and the doctor was pleased as well.
Right. Wow. That's amazing stuff. And again, that's something that you were able to do using guided imagery.
That's right.
Where
guided
again,
imagery, self-hypnosis, positive self-talk, the
Right.
things we've been talking about.
And via the recording, right?
Yes, and I made a recording so that he could listen to it twice a day. And he followed my instructions, although at first he thought, "Oh, this isn't going to work. This is crazy." But then he was so scared, and he thought
wouldn't heal.
he would calm down at least, right? So it was very successful.
Okay.
And his leg, he said at the end, was better than ever.
That's great.